یه روز خوب میاد که ما همو نکشیم، به هم نگاه بد نکنیم، با هم دوست باشیم و دست بندازیم رو شونه های هم.
The history of Iran over the past 70 years is complex. Here is a brief overview of the terrible dilemma and a not far-fetched idea. Since the overthrow of Mohammad Mossadegh in 1953, foreign interests have significantly interfered in Iranian politics. This resource-rich country has become the target of various dubious machinations. Since then, Iran has suffered constant attempts at destabilization from the outside. The overthrow of the Shah in 1979, justified in some respects, nevertheless illustrates how skillfully the people were manipulated, ultimately leading to a fundamental social and political regression. A brutal, fundamentalist regime, supported by the West, seized power. The population has been oppressed and excluded from political participation since 1979. During this time, isolation and sanctions, which primarily affect the civilian population, have intensified U.S. companies and regime connections. Several US companies have demonstrably collaborated with Iran despite sanctions, including Caterpillar, General Electric, Honeywell, Facebook, and Twitter. Both social media platforms have proven to be indirect channels for some US companies members of the Iranian regime, particularly the Revolutionary Guard, may have influence over these companies' business dealings, highlighting the substantive complexity and moral dilemmas in the relationship between Iran and the US. It is particularly noteworthy that leading members of these companies often have ties to the Revolutionary Guard and the Mullah regime. This implies that foreign powers, especially the US, have been supporting this regime for decades. Isolation and its consequences. During this period, isolation and sanctions, which primarily affect the civilian population, have intensified. These sanctions have devastating consequences for daily life, particularly in the areas of health, education, and infrastructure. The humanitarian crisis is further exacerbated by restrictions on livelihoods, while foreign companies continue to conduct business in Iran. When the Iranian regime expresses hostility toward the US, it does so within a context shaped by the propagandistic portrayal of an anti-US, anti-Israel Iran. Against the backdrop of historically stable relations between Iran and Israel, this narrative is used to further isolate the Iranian population. The attacks by Israel in the US in June 2025, namely Midnight Hammer and Rising Lion, have been unanimously deemed violations of international law, as documented, for example, by the German Bundestag's research service. According to the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, it is not unreasonable to assume that the attack on newly constructed facilities may have contributed to the extreme heat exceeding 50 degrees Celsius experienced in Iran this year, as well as the extreme drought. These attacks underscore the alarming current state of affairs. The current US president awkwardly termed that, given his authoritarian and often criminal actions, feels emboldened to deliberately infiltrate Iran in order to annex its rich resources. This risks leaving Iranian citizens who rise up against the regime to mistakenly believe the US supports them. Why, then, did the US and Israel spare supreme unanimity during their attacks in June? It would have been easy for the US. Instead, over 1,000 civilians were killed and vital civilian infrastructure destroyed. To believe these people have the best interests of the Iranian people at heart would be a fatal misconception. Neither the US nor the current Israeli government, whose members are imprisoned by the International Criminal Court, harbors any genuine intentions on behalf of the Iranian people. Their sole aim is land theft and resource theft. As in Afghanistan, a fundamentalist regime has been brought to power in Iran and covertly supported to prevent the population from governing their wealthy country in peace and freedom. The people have been impoverished, and the brutal regime aims to undermine their ability to act. This tactic of the Western powers is to wait until a sustained infiltration of the country is deemed opportune. With the rising influence of Donald Trump, the takeover is being pursued after 47 years of hardship. The suffering of the people is now being used as a means to initiate a power grab. Should the current regime actually be overthrown, a dangerous vacuum could emerge. The people of Iran face a critical juncture. On the one hand, you must find a way to break your own inhumane government. On the other hand, you cannot possibly place your trust in the autocratic leader of the USA and the inhumane Israeli government,
who just killed over 100,000 people, including numerous children, in Gaza within 2 years.
Furthermore, you must let go of idealized notions of the past and embark on a new beginning with a modern path that benefits the many young people of Iran and transcends nostalgic longings. International reactions. While the international community has occasionally reacted to human rights violations in Iran, its responses have often been inadequate. Initiatives by the United Nations or the European Union frequently focus on diplomatic solutions, while the impact on the Iranian civilian population is not sufficiently considered.
Another problem is the inadequate and often one-sided reporting on Iran in Western media. These portrayals frequently distort reality and contribute to a lack of full understanding of the complex social and political structures in Iran.
Role of the Iranian opposition.
The Iranian opposition consists of various groups pursuing different approaches to reform or regime change. These groups are often divided, which reduces the chances of a unified approach against the existing regime. Their influence can significantly alter the social landscape in Iran.
Humanitarian aid and NGOs.
Non-governmental organizations
operating in Iran, particularly in the field of humanitarian aid,
play a vital role. These organizations often work under extreme conditions and strive to build bridges between the Iranian people and the international community.
Internet freedom, technology development, and scientific and cultural cooperation.
Internet freedom and access to information are of paramount importance to the Iranian people.
Digital technologies offer new opportunities for organization and communication, which is essential for social movements in Iran. Scientific and cultural cooperation should not be hindered by sanctions. This strengthens the inhumane regime and isolates the civilian population.
Social movements and protests.
For years, the country has been experiencing social movements and protests in which the population advocates for political and social reforms. However, these movements face significant challenges, including brutal repression by the regime.
Future prospects.
To promote peaceful solutions and stability in Iran, far-reaching measures are needed. These could include dialogue initiatives between governments, economic incentives for positive change, and support for the internal reform process, along with genuine sovereignty and recognition of Iran as an independent country. To ensure genuine political stability, respect for human rights, and the revival of democracy, it is essential that the Iranian people mobilize and stabilize themselves from within. The foundation for this is the widespread support for overthrowing the regime among the population. Only by safeguarding their social structures can they prevent foreign interference from creating a destructive vacuum. This would have grave consequences for the lives of the Iranian people and would jeopardize any prospect of a better life. especially during the presidency of Donald Trump and the current Israeli government. The internal foundation should be laid to achieve a sustainable overthrow of the regime at a time when governments in the US and Israel have changed hands frequently, as they too demonstrate brutal, lawless practices that would prevent an overthrow at this time from achieving the desired outcome. Ultimately, achieving lasting political stability and restoring human dignity requires thoughtful and forward-looking action. Only in this way is there a chance for genuine peace and the long-awaited freedom for the Iranian people. One can only hope that Europe is aware of the gravity of this situation and will initiate and facilitate the necessary steps to support the Iranian people in this devastating situation. The Iranian people themselves have been demonstrating remarkable courage, risking their lives for decades. What they need is active, effective, and honest support from Europe. As a reminder, Iran was historically one of Germany's largest trading partners. Back in the 1970s, before the 1979 revolution, economic relations between the two countries had reached their peak. Germany primarily exported machinery, chemicals, and vehicles. While Iran increased its oil exports, Germany could benefit from a revival of relations with the civilian population, not only from a moral standpoint, but also from an economic one. In conclusion, the criminal Iranian regime must step down, as must the criminal president of the United States, who has become a disgrace to the US and a danger to the international community. Just like the criminal government of Israel, only then did the world breathe a sigh of relief. We stand with the Iranian civilian population in our thoughts and with the resources available to us here on the ground.
یه روز خوب میاد که ما همون نکشیم، به هم نگاه بد نکنیم، با هم دوست باشیم و دست بندازیم رو شونه های هم.